Hey, YouTube friends and family, welcome back. Just Christina here. Today I'm going to share with you a book entitled The Insiders, Architects of the New World Order. This was written by John F. McManus. He was a very highly influential individual, a very well-educated and respected gentleman. And he wrote a few books. He was the president of the John Birch Society for almost 14 years. He was a lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, and as I said, a very well-respected, very well-educated individual. I'll be going over his short bio here in a moment, but ultimately, The Insiders, Architects of the New World Order discusses these 5 political campaigns or these 5 political residencies in office and how they helped usher in the New World Order. It's very, very important to stick with it because the 5th era, the George W. Bush years, are the scariest to me. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'll be doing this in 5 parts, so we're going to get through the introduction, and we'll start off with the James Earl Carter years. About the author. John F. McManus graduated in 1957 with a Bachelor of Science degree in physics from the Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts. He then served on active duty as a lieutenant, United States Marine Corps, for 3 years. Following his military service, he was employed as an electronics engineer in New England. Mr. McManus joined the staff of the John Birch Society in 1966. In 1973, he was named by JBS founder Robert Welch as the organization's public relations director and chief media representative. He has appeared on hundreds of radio and television programs, including C-SPAN and The Larry King Show. For many years, Mr. McManus wrote and syndicated a weekly newspaper column entitled The Birch Log. He has written and produced numerous audiovisual programs, and his articles have appeared regularly in JBS-affiliated publications. And we've actually gone over some of those already on this channel. His books include Financial Terrorism, Hijacking America Under the Threat of Bankruptcy, 1993, Changing Commands, The Betrayal of America's Military, 1995, and this 5th edition of The Insiders, Architects of the New World Order. From 1991 through 2003, he served as president of the John Birch Society. He currently is the Society's senior executive advisor. Married in 1957, he and his wife raised 4 children and are now enjoying several grandchildren. Preface. In addition to previously published surveys of insider domination of the administrations of Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and the first 2 years of Bill Clinton, this edition of The Insiders, Architects of the New World Order presents a revised Part 4 that continues the survey of insider control over the Clinton administration to its unglorious, scandal-plagued conclusion. Additionally, a new Part 5 documents the early years of the George W. Bush administration and demonstrates that the change of political parties in the White House in 2001 did no more to diminish insider control of our government than did previous party shifts. An important key to understanding the dominance of the insiders over contemporary America begins with understanding of the history and purposes of such organizations as the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. Much of the history appears in Part 1 and is not repeated in Parts 2, 3, 4, and 5. The definition of the term insiders, as it was first given by John Birch Society founder Robert Welch, and as it has been employed by the Society ever since, is provided toward the end of Part 1. Readers familiar with the author's critiques of the Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, and early Clinton administration are encouraged to resume their study by turning immediately to Part 4, the Clinton years, and jump to the new material that begins with Clinton record invites impeachment. This concluding survey of the final years of the Clinton administration will prepare the reader for Part 5, which addresses the continuing insider influence in the administration of George W. Bush. So it goes on to welcome people to the John Birch Society and hopefully offers a glimpse of hope of the increasing insider control over the U.S. government and other critically important areas of American life, and they hope that it will stimulate many to become involved in the fight to turn the insiders out. And that was a preface written in 2004. Introduction. If a member of your family were suddenly felled by a strange malady, you would quickly run to the physician. So, too, would you hasten to a doctor's office when a more familiar disease struck, or when an accident caused a broken bone or torn flesh. Once in the presence of the doctor, you would hardly waste his time or your own by demanding of him some assurance that he favors good health. You know he already does, and you know he opposes fever, earaches, broken legs, etc. We mention this because the John Birch Society has often been accused of promoting only negativism or of merely finding fault. Yet any honest survey of our literature demonstrates that such a charge is baseless. The doctor who wants healthy bodies doesn't take time to explain that he wants good health, nor do we always explain that our first and foremost goal is a strong nation and a healthy civilization. The Insiders explains much of what has gone wrong in America and who is causing her ills. We doubt that we will be accused of presuming too greatly in believing that most Americans know something is eating away at the foundations of this great nation. Unemployment, national and personal indebtedness, economic slowdown, loss of faith, declining national stature, a vaguely defined quote-unquote New World Order, broken families, and much more have stimulated worries from coast to coast and from all sectors of our social and economic strata. The John Birch Society believes in America, in her magnificent Constitution, her glorious traditions, and her wonderful people. Where America is strong, we seek to preserve, and where she has been weakened, we seek to rebuild. Sadly, we witness the presence of powerful forces working to destroy the marvelous foundations given us by far-seeing and noble men 200 years ago. The information and analysis given in this book will undoubtedly upset, even anger some readers. But if the history contained in these pages is disturbing to both the reader and ourselves, we urge that the blame be directed towards those who made it, not those who published it. Doctors can't treat patients until they identify the cause of ailments. Similarly, no citizen can act to help his nation until he or she understands what constitutes good national health and what is ravishing it. It is our hope that the information presented in these pages will assist a great many more Americans to identify our nation's diseases and those who spread them, and then take action to speed her back to the robust health she once enjoyed. The Insiders, Architects of the New World Order.